BB851, turn right, heading 180. 14 Papa, turn right 245, report localizer established 27.
The Boeing 737 MAX situation, I think we can all firmly agree, has been incredibly messy. From dealing with ET302, which occurred in March, to the fallout of that, to then the eventual grounding of the type, to the overall financial losses that airlines flying the type have indeed experienced since then. Ultimately, though, an area not often explored in detail is that of the pilots. Today's focus follows on from news that Southwest, specifically SWAPA, the Pilots Association with Southwest, has filed a lawsuit directly against Boeing. What Southwest is saying is rather controversial, but actually potentially expected. They're saying that Boeing deliberately misled the pilots of Southwest in regards to the 737 MAX. Let's get into a little bit more of that now. The extent of the damage caused to pilots and airlines following these lengthy groundings to the 737 MAXs are only now just being found out. While we certainly knew that it was bad, we've learned that the groundings since March specifically have led to 30,000 Southwest flights alone being cancelled, while US $100 million has been lost in wages for the pilots of these aircraft. The information which was shared thanks to the union can come as no shock when taking a look at the Southwest fleet information. The airline exclusively operates the 737 family currently, with over 700 of the 737 NGs in service, and at the time of the grounding, they had just over 30 737 MAX 8s delivered. That's with over 200 still on order, and you could have imagined more coming eventually. This did make them the largest operator of the type at the time that the MAX was grounded. What has been alleged towards Boeing is the following: abandoned sound design and engineering practices, withheld safety-critical information from regulators, and deliberately misled its customers, pilots, and the public about the true scope of the design changes to the 737 MAX. Now, if this does come out to be true, it's quite concerning. So what actually happens next following these allegations from the Southwest Pilot Union? Well, obviously a thorough investigation will need to take place to determine if this was the case. If it was, well, that's something we'll have to get into at a later date. However, we know Boeing is already working with Southwest to ensure that compensation is given and also to make sure that the MAX is returned to service safely with the software fix implemented. Of course, they would like it to be done as soon as possible. Boeing is really in a tricky situation and position really, as you can probably imagine. They're facing scrutiny from every single area, with new claims, lawsuits, reports and more coming to light every passing week. And all they can really do is address it with the same statement, which is they put the safety of their passengers, crew and employees first and want to make sure the MAX gets back safely as soon as possible. A concern that Southwest now has is that Boeing, as an aircraft manufacturer, are they actually correctly informing their customers on the safety of their jets? If pilots and ultimately airlines cannot trust the Boeing product, well, further concerns arise about what they're actually going to do in the future. With that being said, feel free to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below, as it's a really odd situation. We're seeing more and more airlines and pilots really come over and explain how they've been impacted. And now we're getting the Southwest Pilot Union come out and saying that Boeing has not been informing them correctly on really how the 737 MAX was changed, potentially saying that the pilots flying it were not put in the safest position possible.